Okay, I spent the morning working with Blender 2.8, and it was, shall we say, a less than satisfying experience. So now we're back to Toonz, and I don't even know what I got to do, so I'm going to kind of review the project that I'm working on and see where to go from here. But before I do that, I'm going to turn this on. See that? anim8.me. Okay, so that is a domain that I registered a short time ago, and I put a little cartoon up there that says coming soon. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So if you have some ideas, feel free to say so. I was thinking it could be kind of the home base for this anime project I'm working on. Up until now, I've thought I don't necessarily want to get into the idea of like creating, educational materials or having a premium channel, to try to turn it into a revenue generator over and above this YouTube channel. In other words, I see a lot of guys do that direction, and I can see why they would, because they're trying to turn their YouTubing into a career, which is a great idea. For me, I want to really focus on the anime itself. For example, if you go to my filmmaking website, blendedplanet.com, you get a content blocking on. That's great. You get this little thing about me and some of the films I've made. It's very simple. You can go and look at the trailers or whatever for films that I produced. This is the one I just released not too long ago. That's the sequel to Healed by Grace. Features Sean Young of Blade Runner fame. And then I have a blog. So, but basically this website is really focused on David Matthew Weiss, the filmmaker. So I figured this site, anim8.me, would be focused more on just like animation stuff. So anyway, my point is, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I'm probably going to do something with it just to kind of keep things clean. Well, and I'll show you why. Because I have commercial media clients who wouldn't know what to, they know me as David Weiss, the commercial media businessman, the message on hold guy, the musical jingle guy, the web development guy. They don't know David Weiss, really the filmmaker or the animator guy. So it's like there's all these different little worlds out there. It's a great thing about the web is you can kind of be who you want to be whenever you want to be it. So anyway, okay, back to work. Okay, there's obviously a few things here. It's kind of interesting. I did not make these levels sub-X sheets. So they really are all just standalone vector layers. So what I did was I was doing my inking with vectors, and as you can see, it's got some scratchy marker-like lines, and that's because I used a vector brush. So I can definitely recommend the use of vector brushes in Blender, in OpenToonz, to give you a sketchy quality to your outlines. But at the same time, working with it last week, there's still some things about working with vectors that I'm not totally thrilled with, particularly when it gets to be time to do the coloring. So anyway, so here Akari has the knife in the guy's back, which if you follow my channel, you know what that's about, because there's a whole, there's a 1 minute sequence that comes before this. So this guy's looking back and he's kind of like, and okay, so then it gets to this sequence where he contemplates, well, what am I going to do? He looks at his buddy, and then she warns him, don't even think about it, because he's I don't know if we've sold the concept. I had an earlier iteration of it where the guy takes the vase and goes like this, and he threatens to smash it, because ostensibly in this sequence she says to him something that amounts to the fact that the vase is priceless. And by the way, I'm well aware that the vase has to be properly colored because it was originally done in 3D in Blender. Okay, so what actually happens is he kind of looks at the vase and back at her, and then she says, don't even think about it unless you want to be paralyzed, because she does have a knife sticking in his back at this point. By the way, that's the framing. So all this stuff was just closing up the vectors so that you can do the paint work. And also, obviously, none of these sequences have, or shots, I guess you'd call them. The whole thing's a sequence. None of these shots have proper shading, shadows, blah, 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 at this point. Okay, so he gets that warning, and then grr. Okay, so now here's the part we're at right now. And this was originally penciled in. I guess it would be this. I wish there was a way to solo a level here in Toonz. There really isn't. So if I turn these guys off, and I'm going to set the start marker there so that we're not wasting time jumping around with. Okay. So what's supposed to happen is and this was framed all wrong. I was just sketching it to sort of plan out the motion. So there's 4 keyframes while he carefully sets down the vase. He says that's better, and then our villain turns around while there's a camera pan on the panning up. So okay, so that brings us up to date, and what we need to do now is we got to get those other keyframes in there. I'm a little bit surprised at myself that I inked and colored this. I must have been in a hurry. I inked and colored him without having the other keyframes in there. Okay, that's no big tragedy. Let's do this. Let's take Akari out. Let's take the other, because those are static shots. They're not going to change. So this is the only level that's actually going to change here. And what we'll do is I think we should start with the existing drawing. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the D key. I'm just going to follow my previous plan. Excuse me. I like the way Toonz lets you put a memo in there, and you can just drag it wherever you want. This is the 2-second action sequence ends here, so that's him setting down the vase. And then there's a bit of a hold before she goes ahead and says that's better. So, alright, so now we've got our drawings in there. Just by hitting the D key, it made a duplicate. So this is this drawing, and I'm hitting the comma and the plus key to jump between the drawings. So these two drawings are not the same, even though they look the same. They're copies. Okay, so in order to make this fly, yeah, I really kind of made my job here a little difficult because I don't really have a good way to reuse parts of it, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and just erase, and I may go in and add a level that's like a pencil drawing, just to sort of sketch in the poses. Of course I have the storyboard I can refer to, so if I'm good, I might be able to actually draw this stuff directly in the Toonz raster level as an ink and paint. Just dive right in and get it right, the first time kind of thing. That's not likely, but I'll try. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now here's what I think I'm going to do. This is one thing that could be cool. I'm going to go over here to number 10, and I'm going to make that a raster brush. That's what I'll do. This is the cool thing about the my paint brushes in the Toonz raster levels, is I can take this and draw whatever I'm going to draw to make my plan, and then just turn the alpha off later. Just hide it, make it transparent. I would guess that maybe that would make the rendering a little slower or something, but it's nice that I can kind of hide the. Now, having said that, is there any good reason not to map it out here in a regular raster level? Come to think of it, I guess not. There really is no good reason not to. So I'm going to do just that. So I'm going to grab this. Actually, Toonz always wants to default to that brush. So just to save myself stress, because if I click away from this level and then click back to it, it'll jump to the default, the first brush, which is a little annoying. But okay, so this way I don't have that problem, and I could probably delete this brush out. And by gum, I better save early, save often. So, okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm essentially going to duplicate. Actually, let me do this. Let me put a drawing here. The reason I'm putting a drawing there is so that I can use the comma and the plus key to just toggle back to this one, and I can see what I had before. Okay, so there. That works well. I'm going to hit the tilde key so that I go into kind of full screen mode. And again, save early, save often. Okay, so this way I can basically map this. And you know what I need to do? I actually should make this like red. That way I'll really be able to see it over the previous drawing. Or the ink, I should say, over the ink and paint. Okay. Alright, so this is gonna work, so why don't we go ahead and finish this out like so. We'll put the red line drawing in a different level, just because it's kind of the intelligent thing to do. And I'm just gonna put a mark there, hitting the down arrow to go to here, put a mark there, same thing here. Okay, so now all the action can be mapped in quite readily. The whole key to this is the compliant putting down of the vase. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trace the vase here so that I can cut and paste it. And it'll be interesting to see how I may have fouled up the shape of the vase here. Actually, I guess I got it pretty close. So that's cool. So what I'm going to do, even though that's really sketchy, is I'm just going to hit the S key and re-grab this so that I can kind of tweak it a bit. And then I'm going to hit Control C and then go through here and just do this again, because the important thing is the progression of the vase over to the table. Right? So I'm going to go back here and look at that one. And plus, I'm going to say that on this level, I'm going to have him bend down a little bit as well. So let's Control V, S key. So yeah, I'm a big believer that if you're going to, if you can save time by cutting and pasting components, especially elements that you know darn well aren't going to be experiencing any squash and stretch or anything like that. So there's no point in redrawing it, really. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so now, having done that, let's see if we can save a little bit of effort in this level by just letting this guy move a little bit. Okay. You know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to, can I shear this? Yeah, I'm going to shear that a little bit. Okay, so same thing again here. So yeah, this is a little bit risky behavior, I must say, but if it works, it will be kind of sort of cool. So now I'm going to hit the S key again. Okay. Yeah, S key here. Let's rotate this guy a little bit, so that it's like his body weight is shifting over kind of as a unit. So S key here. I am keenly aware that there may be some greater level of modification needed with his torso, but I think it's probably going to be okay. Alright, this is definitely going to take some pretty serious surgery. Okay. Now the key thing here is I think I want his hands extended, and I know I'm really breaking the rules here trying to make this work with his torso, but what the heck? I mean, it can't hurt to try, right? It cannot hurt to try. And I can always, you know, fatten this up a little bit and to kind of correct it. But let's just look at how it feels. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's not bad. Obviously, this is bad. The thigh. But I have to say, all in all, the action sells me. So now I'm going to go back to here. And let's do sticks and balls, right? Okay, so we got shoulders here. So now let's just go through and let's map this out. We got sticks and balls. Okay, so this hand is essentially an oval like that. So let's put the oval there. Let's map that whole action. Now it's turning more into a ball, as you can see. And just fingertips there. Okay, and that's going to be pretty straight. Probably something like that, I guess. It will be fairly foreshortened. Okay, something of that nature. Okay. You know, I want this to read in silhouette if possible, so yeah, that's not bad. I actually somewhat kind of like it. Okay, so and then this hand is actually going to fatten and turn into an oval. See? Because the whole idea is that he's, you know, he's going like, you know, he's watching her. You know, he's doing this kind of thing. You know, he's cautiously setting the vase down. You know, work from what you know to what you don't know. And the one thing I definitely can feel right now very clearly is the positioning of his elbow. So that's going to have to be something like that. Not bad. And now we're going to remember, just so we don't get in too much of a hurry and forget, let's realize that we definitely need to fatten this up a bit to sell the shape there. Okay, not bad at all. I actually think that feels pretty good. Okay, so you know, unlike my Blender rant this morning, which was really about, you know, it's about the idea of trying to, you know, you're trying to get work done. We're not here to play, although it is fun, but we're not here to play. We're here to hopefully create animation that's incredibly decent. You know, and it does get frustrating when you try to use tools that kind of fail you in a big way. Now we'll see what kind of comments I get. I already got a comment. One guy, I appreciated it too. He told me a Blender hotkey that I could have used to solve the problem of inserting a grease pencil keyframe. So, you know, I'm actually hoping a number of people will listen to my rant and go ahead and post some, you know, tips to help me figure out. Yeah, see, I just got another one. Oh no, never mind. I didn't. I had thanked the guy for the tip, and then he, you know, put a thumbs up on it or whatever. So, okay. Anyway, back to work. Okay, so and as probably if you guys follow me much, you know that this was probably my favorite part of the animation process, just because it's when it all sort of comes to life and you can tell it's either going to work or it's not, you know. Just giving myself an indicator here of what the foreshortening's got to be. And since this is a raster level, if this was a Toonz raster level, then if I changed the color on this brush, it would change all the lines that are already drawn. But since it's a regular raster level, I can go ahead and change the colors and use that to my advantage, so I can kind of see what I'm doing better. And it's helpful from an animation standpoint. I'm going to make that a little darker though. because then you can take what you're working on and find the simple shapes that are in there, like this sphere for his deltoid. And what you find is, it's easy to track the positioning of a simple, ball. And what happens is if the balls are right, okay, that sounds like a bit of a provocative statement. If the balls are right, everything's right. You get that right, everything's going to look good. So that's why I go through and do what I call sticks and balls. And I'm sure everybody who has ever been an accomplished animator in the history of the world probably does it this way or something close to it. I don't know. I'm kind of making this up as I go along, doing what I'm finding works for me. So that makes me think right here I want a little bit more meat on those bones, so to speak. So now what I'm tracking is just the top of this arm, right? Like that. Okay, so now we're going to have a little bit of bicep action here. A little more muscle there. A little bit of muscle there. A little bit of muscle there. And of course we already had it there. So now I'm going to switch to blue so that I can put in the indicator of the band on his arm, so I don't forget that. Because you know me, I'll go through and do this whole thing and completely leave out something that's like completely critical because I'm in a hurry. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a bad boy. I want to be a good boy. Alright, so there's that. Let's put blue here as well. Blue. So all I have to do is animate the line. If I can animate the line, I can animate the guy. Line. 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 Nice. Okay. And so, what it seems to me is that this is going to probably look pretty good, actually. We'll put the band in there. Band. Band. Okay, so now let's do purple, or whatever that is. Magenta, maybe? Okay, so we got a bicep here. We can kind of start there, though. Muscle. Muscle. It gets extended right there a little bit. Okay. And now let's grab, I don't know, aqua for this band here for his wrap around his waist, which obviously doesn't have to be drawn for a lot of the screen real estate because the vase is actually blocking it, but it's good to kind of know where things are. Okay, can't argue with that. Honestly, I think it looks pretty darn good. Okay, so now I can kill this. File, I'm saving all. I'm going to go ahead and turn on Akari and the other guy for a moment. Oopsie poo. There we go. Okay, so now we've got this action that starts there. And indeed it ends here. So as you guys know, I tend to, if it was up to just me, I would probably favor having more keys in there. Valerie tends to prefer this sparser animation, this little bit more choppy. That's fine. It's a creative choice. And so since I really look at this as being her anime, in other words, she's the director. I mean, she wrote the story, so I subject my work to her sense of aesthetics. Now there could come a point in time where for some reason we agree to maybe throw out some of those choices in favor of maybe, for example, maybe a distributor would say, hey, I like what you're doing, but we just want to see more stuff on twos, and we want to see a little more action. Okay. That's totally doable because, we've got these OpenToonz project files, and all we got to do is go in and add more keys if we need to. It takes time, obviously, but it's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. So now what I'm going to do is I'm hitting Shift Spacebar so I can zoom in here. And I'm going to see if I can wing this, frankly. I'm just going to try to wing it. I mean, come on, I can draw, right? I know how to draw. I don't need to agonize over this too much. Okay, I'm not going to draw his hand right now because I don't want to deal with trying to get it right, basically. Because I want to get I just want to get the bulk of it kind of sort of close to what I'm going to want it to be. Okay, so let's jump back, forward. Okay, so you're going to have a little bit of action there. Okay, and then I also want to sort of duplicate these lines, you know, pretty much. Okay, so now we got a loose one there. We got one that kind of almost wrapped. One thing I do here is I never let the lines cross all the way across this wristband. And the reason I do that is because suggesting the wraps is all you need, number one. And number two, now I can click that one time and fill the whole area. If the lines actually crossed, then I'd have to click, click, click. You know, I'd have to do multiple fill steps. And I don't want to do multiple fill steps. So, with that in mind, I'm cheating. It's good to cheat sometimes. Okay, so now we can, let's just suggest that there. I'm actually thinking, do I want to consider putting the vase on its own level? I don't think I need to. Yeah, I don't think I need to. What I do need to do, though, is grab this. Control C. Let's go to, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, I want to go to the next drawing, hit Control V, and thankfully the selection is still made so that I have the ability to drag it around. I don't want to click the wrong way though because I'll lose that selection. Okay, that's not great, but it's not horrible. I think I'm going to turn this off for a minute. Yeah. Okay, so clearly, I've actually never really dealt with a Toonz raster level this way before, and it definitely seems like maybe risky behavior. Just because there's a fair amount I'm going to have to go in and touch up. You know what I should do is make it so it erases only the lines at the moment. Deal with the lines and fills separately, I think. Yeah, and then let's... Okay, that's interesting. I guess I wait a minute. Okay. That's weird. I don't know why I lost the line that was across his fingers, but that's okay. That'll only take a half a second to fix. So, am I actually saving myself any time by cutting and pasting this vase in here? Probably not. What I'm gaining is accuracy in terms of the look of the vase remaining consistent between the keyframes. So, that's the benefit. Yeah, I'm just going to fill that in. Go ahead and grab that. Let's erase lines and areas now so that I can just clean this up. B key. Yep, that's not bad. I think that will probably all paint up nicely. I don't really love this. Seems a little chaotic. So, there we go. Okay, and this, of course, needs to be like so. So the only real advantage to putting the vase on another level would be that, well, the problem we have is if we select it, of course, you're going to select his hands and everything else too. So it's definitely a little on the clunky side as far as reusing my assets from keyframe to keyframe. But that's okay. We'll keep plugging away, and if we get to a point where we go, okay, this isn't really working, then we'll just deal with that at that point. But since I did, hello? I guess I'm in the wrong level right now. Since I did cut and paste the vase before, I should be able to just block it in. That's fine. It's not like perfect, but so that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and block in the vase on all of these keys. And I'll have to erase little pieces of it in order to put his hands in there, obviously. But that just allows me to get that mapped out. Okay, so now we got kind of the same situation here where we're going to go like that. And I'm gonna start toggling. Toggle, toggle, toggle. Sort of checking my work as I go. Okay, actually that's not quite right. This needs to be foreshortened more. Okay, boom, boom. Yeah, that's better. So, this is gonna definitely look more, well, foreshortened. That's what I said. And that, I kind of missed. Let's go back that way. Yeah, there we go. It's also fun when you can start speeding up, be a little more sketchy about it, and just get it going. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. That'll work. Sometimes when it's not crystal clear how the foreshortening's supposed to go, it's easiest just to connect it with straight lines. Okay, we kind of have an animation sin right there, in that we have a real coincidence in how these two lines coincide, which is, yeah, that's the cardinal animation sin. You don't want those sorts of coincidences. Well, okay, it's one of the cardinal animation sins. I'm sure there's probably others. Okay. Okay, now here we need to indicate that. I'll deal with the wraps. I guess I'll deal with the wraps now. Okay. Looks good. Looks good. Okay, so this is going to be kind of like that. Boom. I'm going to stop there because I'm going to have to go in and deal with the hands kind of surgically. So yeah, 2019 is going to be the year of anime for me. That's my plan. Really give a lot of focus to hammering away every day. Keep noting the lessons learned so that the workflow hopefully becomes more and more consistent and delivering results that are of respectable quality. Yada yada yada. That's the plan, man. So now what I need to do is go through here. Yeah, I've got lines and areas selected, so I'm just going to go through here and see. I like the way we can erase too, because if this was a vector level, anytime I break a line, the fills would disappear, which I find rather irritating. Okay, and here I'm just going to actually fake this out by erasing into it. And there's that. Feels pretty good. I want to check the positioning of his wrap on his waist. Right there. That looks good. Looks good, feels good. Obviously we need to have some fingertippage going on here, cutting into the vase. And okay, and we've got a missing line there. And we definitely need to tweak that. Okay. I'm going to just indicate that. Okay. Let's erase only lines, just so I can get rid of that inside line and get rid of that inside line, so that then the whole thing will be able to fill. And if it's a little tweaky and winky to try to get that filled in properly, I'll just hit the P key and use the paintbrush, which you can't use in a vector layer, and you can't use, I don't think you can use in a regular raster level either. I keep saying layer when I mean level. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and indicate the spots on the vase where it's being grabbed. Kind of sort of here, here, kind of sort of here. I'm not going to erase on that side because that's actually going to be, you'll see the fingers, but it's not going to actually cut into the shape of the vase. So with that, boom, 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 boom. Not bad. Okay, this is actually questionable because it kind of looks like maybe his leg is getting fatter, which is, of course, ridiculous. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill that outline completely. Hit the B key, and then let's just see what we've got here. Okay, yeah, so right here, I mean, it moves over a little, so something like that would be okay. We don't want to go too far. Okay, and here I want to see a little bit of action with the with the wrinkles. So now I got to deal with his hands. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, we also need to deal with his leather strap, don't we? Okay, no problema. Okay, so there's going to have to be a little bit of erasing going on here, obviously. This will come through like that. This is going to come through like that. And obviously we know that he has like this little pack thing that should probably be drawn here. I'm going to pretend that this strap here would be covered completely by his hand. I don't know for sure that it would, but that tells me too that there's a little piece missing on this original drawing. So if I want this to be accurate, I should select this, hit Control C, go to the previous drawing, and paste it back in. Otherwise, I'm going to have a little bit of chatter between the frame. I mean, that's why I cut and paste. I cut and paste so that I don't introduce chatter when I have redrawn something imperfectly. Save all. Okay. And this actually brings up another point, which I may regret, that the pattern on the vase I've kind of neglected here, but that's okay. I think we can work with it. Okay, so let's hit the L key. Okay, yeah, we got to get his hands in there then. Now, as you can see, it turns out Akari has no arm. So, obviously, that's going to have to be drawn. So, how we going here on time? 39. I'm going to go ahead and just double checking. Not really any comments on the earlier video. So now, I accidentally selected her. So now what I want to do is go in here and I'm just going to really do this, try to do this by feel as best I can. think that'll work. Got a little bit of erasure that needs to take place there, and probably a line there for his wrap. Okay, that works. Okay, so there is a little bit of a cheat going on here. So, and I don't know if I'm going to try to fix it properly or not. This is one of those cases where, do we want to agonize over the anatomy of his hand, or do we want to recognize the fact that this frame goes by really fast? Yeah. The answer is we want to agonize over the anatomy of his hand because that looks stupid. Well, the reason that happened is I'm just zoomed in too close, and I'm not really. I've kind of lost my perspective in terms of the sizing of things. You know, if his arm's going to go like this, then his hand's going to be quite a good bit bigger. Okay. So let's do like I said before. Let's work from the known to the unknown. Now here we've got the fingers all squinched together, so I'd be remiss to not keep it pretty close to that. Let's let his pinky slip out a little bit. Okay, I know that looks a little cockeyed. Yeah, the pinky thing's not working at all. That's stupid. That's embarrassing. I can't believe I just did that on YouTube. Looks completely idiotic. Okay. Okay, so now, so what I want to do, the best way to explain this is I want to start drawing. Instead of trying to think about continuity between animation frames and that kind of stuff, I need to just draw, because that's what I'm, good at. And not worry about the continuity. I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense to me. Okay, so now we've got one little issue here. Okay, yeah, I admit it. It's not a little issue. It's actually a big issue. And the issue is the one you have whenever you've just drawn something that basically looks stupid because you didn't draw it accurately. So E key, got to erase these guys because this is going to have to be filled in with the vase color. And frankly, I think I want to aim a little higher here. No. That's better. Okay. So this okay. Okay. And I have to remember it is a wide shot, so it's not like you're going to really see the details of his hand too much. And I think I'm just gonna hint. I'm gonna hint a finger there. Okay, and then this needs to be, remember he's got no, that was stupid. Remember he's got these glove things going on. So okay, I think we might be close to a satisfactory conclusion. Alright, I'm going to hit the F key, and for lack of a better idea, I am going to go ahead and paint in the base. And just see what kind of challenges I'm going to run into here. Okay, so here what I can do is hit the P key and just paintbrush it. And I'm going to hit the erase button to erase lines, and that way I can erase this. Now you'll notice, if you're really paying attention, which I'll bet you hardly any of you were, I'm using a texture here on this. In point of fact, first of all, the texture is not showing up. I don't know if it shows up when I render. Oh, I guess it does. Okay, that actually might work. I wonder if this is like an anime though, where the texture is going to slide under Hmm. Let's go ahead and get rid of the pencil drawing and run a preview. I have a feeling this is not going to work at all. I strongly suspect, and we need to get rid of that as well. All right, so let's hit the L key, and we're going to let OpenToonz cache it in memory. Oh, it is working. Okay, but because I'm in preview, or which is preview mode? Yeah, preview mode. OpenToonz, silly OpenToonz, kind of threw out the my start and end frames, which I don't much appreciate. So let's just see what this does. Because the point is, if this works, then I will just replace the texture with a texture that's more appropriate. Because obviously that doesn't quite look right compared to the vase we had earlier. So I just want to see if this plays back. Huh. It worked. Okay. So I'm not going to belabor that. I'll come back to the whole texture on the vase later, but it's nice to know that we have a pretty good way to do it. Now we want to go here. Okay, yeah, so we want this level. And now I need to just go in and check my details. See if I've been snoozing at the wheel here, or behind the wheel as they say. Yes, I'm snoozing because I need a... Whoops. Okay, that was not good. Okay, we need a line there. Gonna have to zoom in. And let's just check. Okay, we got this wrap here. So unfortunately, we got to put a line right there. That still works, except for the fact that we need the wrap indicators here. Again, we're not closing the shape. That way it'll fill easily. There's a little bit of corruption here, obviously. I think we can probably go like that and it's going to be okay. And here, same thing-ish. Not exactly the same, but similar problem. Okay. Oh, it's fun to go through and just make sure the details are right. I think here we might want to put in a little indicator like that. Yep, definitely. And I want to feel, well, that's not quite what I was after. I want to put something like that. Okay, and of course, now we got this bit of silliness to be compensated for. And I'm actually going to hit the erase button or E key, and then go in there and edit that coloring job a little bit. And so now let's just go through. Let's just kind of see how the fill job's going to go. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty civil for me. There's, you know, what I've been doing lately is if something's not filling well, I just go in, I just hit the P key and hand paint it. It's faster. It works. Yeah, see, like right there, you can really see the little sparkles. So I've mapped the P key to the quote-unquote paintbrush, yeah, paint roller, whatever you want to call it. And it's just a lot faster to just go in and hand paint a few details here and there. So no problema. Okay, so that's bugging me. Yeah, as well it should be, right? Of course it's bugging me because it looks stupid. Okay, so now unfortunately I gotta like make my eraser really tiny, and then I'll just add a 0 there. No, I guess I won't add a 0. Okay, so now we're getting close. Uh-oh, somebody might be coming through the room. Somebody's coming through. Alright, and oh, we forgot to paint the little wing dinger there. So let's see what. Yeah, it's 49 minutes. So I'm basically going to go through and probably get the bulk of the paint happening here, and then call it a day. Or at least call it good for now, you might say. Okay, paint, 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 paint. Paint? Yeah. And clearly there's going to be a fair amount of hand painting, but literally it's going to take, 5 minutes. No problem. So, and then of course later it'll be necessary. Okay, we got a problem. B key. It'll be necessary. There's something odd happening with the brush key lately. It's making these erroneous lines. I think there might be. It's probably time to close OpenToonz and reopen it. So I was traveling this week, and on the way. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. On the way out to Denver, I was sitting next to a very nice lady from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canadian. And she said something, and I'm like, do I notice a Canadian accent? And she's like, well, how did you know? And I said, well, when you said the word about instead of about, she said about. You know how Canadians are. And yeah, she was kind of surprised that I could tell just from a brief phrase that she said. I could tell she was Canadian. And we chit-chatted all the way. Can't remember if that was to Minneapolis or Denver, come to think of it. It was one of those. But this lady was about the same age. Well, actually, she was the exact same age as my adoptive mommy, the woman who raised me. I say adopted because I have in recent days gotten to know my biological mother, who's also a wonderful woman. And yeah, so anyway, the very nice lady from Saskatoon and I had a good little chit chat to pass the time on a couple-hour flight. Okay, so actually what I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to cheat. I'm not even going to bother with putting in the fill line. Okay, and this really needs to be filled in like that. And let's just keep plugging here. Let's keep plugging. Fill. Fill, fill. Okay, I want to zoom out. And actually, I want to quit using the tablet. I'm just going to use the mouse. It's just really faster to... Up. Don't want that. Okay, we got a little problem. So again, I'm just going to cheat. Since this goes by really quickly, I'm going to cheat and hand paint it. Which isn't really cheating. I mean, frankly, the hand painting is more precise than the flood filling. But, so, yeah, so this will be cool once we get the basic. I don't think I'm going to... Yeah, because I'm going to stop at about the hour point. Because I got to split and pick up my son from school anyway. So basically, we'll get the paint. Okay, that's not supposed to be blue. Silly boy, that's supposed to be black. We'll get the painting roughed in, and then call it good for now. Just do all the fix up in another session. Okay, so that technically should be this. Am I right? Am I right? Of course I'm right. I'm not always right. In fact, there may be people that really disagree with me from my video earlier today because I maintain that Blender 2.8 is not beta. Why it's being released as beta to me is a bit silly. It's not even alpha, actually, in my opinion. It's pre-alpha. It's that broken, if you will. There are that many things that are either nonsensical or just don't work right, or some of them. I mean, if you make a poor design decision but implement it correctly, then that's not really a flaw. That's just a design decision that maybe somebody might disagree with. So I know that there are design decisions in Blender 2.8 that I don't agree with, and there may be really good justifications for some of those decisions that I just don't understand yet what the justifications are. And I fully recognize that that may prove to be the case. as I said in the video, you know, if I turn out to be the idiot, I'm more than happy to have that be the case, because frankly, if I can learn to use the tool properly, I'm sure I'll probably enjoy using it. Okay, so what we're going to do is erase lines. Yeah. So what I'm doing here is, for about 4 or 5 more minutes, I'm going to go ahead and keep doing touch-up work, just because, why not? And then I will sign off. Sign off, I say. Okay, so actually, well, see, the problem with maxing out the screen is that when you're doing color work, you have to change colors fairly frequently. So I guess I will not hit the tilde key and maximize this window. I probably could choose. You know, I never jump to the other rooms lately. I'm always in the same room, so that might be somewhat misguided as well. But doesn't seem to hamstring my ability to move forward and get the job done. So there you go. There you go. Next. Okay, there's a fair amount of cleanup to do, but actually the more egregious problem, I gotta hit the erase key, lines and areas. This is a major flaw. Major. Okay, I'm gonna have to go down to 5 or 6 there. Yeah, how that one snuck by me, I'm not quite sure. Okay, let's hit the P key and use the... Actually, no. Let's go back to erase, but only lines. There we go. Make it pretty. We want to make it pretty. Pretty. Unfortunately, as you can see, making it pretty also introduces problems that have to then be fixed, which is not super fun. Okay, so there, and there. I'm going to say this is, to use the phrase I often use, close enough for rock and roll. I think we're actually in pretty good shape. I guess we need to paint his fingers, though, on that last frame, don't we? Okay, so that's a little bit silly. Yeah, I got a couple minutes left here. I can do that. So let's go here. Make sure I'm in the correct level. Which, by the way, I'm going to change that right now to N1, because that's the abbreviation I've been using throughout this project for Ninja 1. So Ninja 1, fingers, looks good. Fingers. No fingers. Oh my goodness, he has no fingers. You can't take away his fingers. Why, he'll die. Okay, so there and there. Come on. Okay, and this, holy smokes, this frame needs a lot of touch-up. But it's just cool that we can. You know, it's nice that by just popping the old P key up there, and all of a sudden I can go in and fix things really fast. And don't you think that those Disney animators and those anime animators, don't you think they do this like all the time? They're constantly touching up and tweaking, and of course they are. There's no such thing as animation that doesn't take a lot of detail work. So, alright, Valerie. I think we're looking pretty good here on setting the vase down, so I'm going to set my start marker there. I'm going to set my stop marker there. Yeah. Alright. I'm actually going to leave that rolling, and with that, I am officially signing off for the moment.